The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's helpline session with your host, James McDonald.
Well, thank you very much, Andrew, and I'd like to start by welcoming our participants to our Monday morning helpline session, and I hope that all of you have lots and lots of questions and topics of discussion for Craig and I here. Craig will be joining us here shortly, but of course, we can discuss anything you want. I know we go over this every Monday morning, but you determine what the topic is. So if you have something that's on your mind, then you can bring it up, and we will absolutely discuss it. Any questions, you can type them in the chat. If you have a working mic, we can have an actual discussion with you, which would be great. Couple little things here. First of all, we had a fantastic boot camp this past Friday in Fort Lauderdale. We had all of our, Florida members plus some others that had actually made the trip from other areas of the United States, primarily the East Coast. But what a fantastic day we had, Lester and I, doing that boot camp, and we had phenomenal feedback. Lester is unbelievable. He's got so much information in terms of lead generation and everything else with all his experience and everything. But the feedback was incredible. And I bring this up not just out of appreciation for those of you that were there, but also to let you know that we have a boot camp coming up in June. So for those of you that are on the West Coast in Huntington Beach, you know that on June the 24th, okay, so you can make sure that you've confirmed that. We already have a whole bunch of you that have already confirmed, but go onto the website and confirm. On June 24th, we're doing an all-day boot camp at the Hyatt Regency, right in Huntington Beach, right down on the beach is where the hotel resort is. It's a beautiful place. We have a beautiful room to spend the day in, overlooking the ocean. It's absolutely fantastic, and you want to be there. And we're going to spend all day long, from sort of 9 in the morning all the way till 5:30, 6 o'clock that evening. And we are going to work on your business. And we're going to make sure that everything that may be vague or somewhat unclear is crystal clear. And being in a room like that, in that kind of an environment, is just really good for clarity. And that's exactly what you'll find. So if it's a little bit of an effort for you to get there, I can assure you it is well worth it, and I certainly hope you do. Now, having said that, one of our, I just want to address this on the webinar with everybody. One of our members, Bruce, is not just a licensed realtor, but he's also an attorney. Pointed out an issue that he had read about to do with website compliance insofar as the act for making sure that your website is compliant with Americans Disability Act. So in other words, your website has to have some accommodations for those who are deaf and blind, video, as well as obviously they can read. So, I just want to answer Bruce's question because he did email this to us and wanted us to address it on here. But really, if you're a website company and you provide websites and you know that this is a law, whether it's an enforced law, which I doubt it is, to what degree anyway, or not. That's something that definitely the web providers, since they're in the business of making websites, I would assume that they would be in the business of making websites that were compliant, that could probably be brought up with Success Website or any website carrier for that matter. And you know what you want your website to do, and you know the content you want on your website. Anything beyond that, you probably want to discuss it with the carrier, the provider of your website. So anyway, Bruce, maybe we can discuss it further from that point. But we had a lot of great feedback, and one of the things that Lester likes to ask everybody to do at these boot camps is to take lots and lots of notes, and then to actually type their notes up so that they read what they wrote. Because when you're writing down idea after idea after idea, it's very easy for them to get lost. And something that you wrote down as short as 10 minutes ago has long left your brain, and it's long forgotten. If you never readdress your notes, you'll miss it. And if you've got pages and pages of them, it can be even worse. So Lester asks our members to do two things. One, write down their notes and retype them up in bullet point form, and then send them in to us. so that your coach can take a look at them and we can take a look at them, and you have real actionable plans in place so you know exactly what to do and how to do it. Maybe a refinement on anything that you're doing right now. And we had many of the participants on Friday do exactly that. You know, within 24 hours, we were bombarded with emails in regards to this, and that was really great. And it'll pay dividends immediately in your business. You'll see that by putting it down on paper and by readdressing it like this, you will take action and begin to implement that. So that's great. Craig, welcome to our Monday morning helpline session.
How was life for you, Mr. McDonald?
Wonderful. Long week last week, but it was really a lot of fun on Friday. We had a great day, as I was telling everybody, and yeah, now we're back at it. So the next one is June 24th in Huntington Beach, and now we're looking forward to that one.
Yeah, well, I've got a lot of nice emails about you here in this boot camp, things that everybody learned. Here's one of them. This was to Lester. Lester, it was a great pleasure to meet you at Fort Lauderdale Boot Camp. They've taken a lot of notes here, I remember, which is great. We've got pages and pages of notes. For example, I'll give you some examples of some of the notes our member took down. Leads should be called back within 5 minutes. An average breakdown should be speaking to 50% of the leads. Said approximately 1/3 of those spoken to an appointment. 75% of the appointments should be showing up. Signing 50% of the actual appointments to a contract. Different ways to get to talk if the call was not made within 5 minutes. Hi, this is agent's name, and I was wondering, as a courtesy, to let you know. I was calling as a courtesy to let you know that the requested information. I'm sending the requested information. Is that okay? Anyway, we have pages and pages of really good notes on every aspect that was covered. For example, here's some more notes on the universal callback script. A quick, accurate determination of motivation and timing. You must present the correct offer for the request. Making sense of the call. Listen to exactly what the prospect says. Remember, you're having a conversation. This list is free and you're under absolutely no cost or obligation. It removes the threat of cost and obligation. Very, very important. You may have to say that a few times throughout the script. Don't get caught up in what you say. Think about where the conversation is going to go. Then it says, talks about objections. Okay, the first objection. Why should we meet? Why can't you just give me the information over the phone? Objection number 2. I'd love to meet with you, but I have to check my work schedule or check with my wife. Or I can see all these homes on Trulia or Realtor.com, can I? So here's the answer to objection number 1. Remember, objection number 1 was, why do we have to meet with you? Why can't we just do this over the phone? Here's the answer. Because I want to do a good job for you. I have over 63 different criteria in my system that my system searches for, and I don't want to miss out on any home that may be ideal for you. Plus, once we meet, I can do a search right on the spot. That is, if they come to the office, and we can see homes, time permitting. Objection number 2, if you remember, was I'd like to set a time, but I can't right now. I have to speak with my wife or husband. Here's the answer to that one. Well, that's fine, but why don't we do this? Let's set up a tentative appointment for, say, 7:30 if that's convenient. Or you can just call me back to reschedule. It says here, perfect if you're going to their home. May not be if they're coming to the office. And just as we know, we're meeting to get exactly what you're looking for in a perfect home. So in the meantime, why don't you and your wife or husband think about some key elements for a property that you're looking for, so I don't take up too much of your time. And again, you're under no cost or obligation to buy any of the homes. Okay, objection number 3, I'm almost done here. Objection number 3 is, well, can't we just see the same stuff on the same homes on Trulia or Realtor.com? So here's the answer to that one. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Whoever, you keep searching on Realtor.com or Truly, and apparently you haven't found the right home. So I want to save you time. Remember, there's no cost or obligation to this. No obligation to buy a home. It's a real time saver. Anyway, the notes go on and on and on here, but what I'm glad to see here, James, is how much was covered at the boot camp and how much this member got out of it. Like then you moved on to presentations, right? Benefits for buyers, benefits for sellers, websites useful and not too expensive. Here's some of the best ideas they found. Lester's voicemail, the $1,000 certificate for callbacks. The FSBO 800 number with the seller's own extension on the for sale sign that I provide for free, but I capture the leads that do not buy the FSBO's home. Anyway, that's just some great notes from Jan Kastner.
Really, what it boils down to, and the way we do it is this. If you think about it, everything follows a flow. In other words, lead generation. If you're not generating any leads, there's really nothing to talk about until we remedy that. So we talk about lead generation and all the different ways you can be generating leads, all the mistakes we can make, and all the different things we can test to get a better result. Then we talk about actually reaching the prospects. Do you actually talk to your prospects? And how many do you talk to? What can we do to talk to more of the prospects that you generate? Number 3, when you talk to them, do you successfully book an appointment? When you do book an appointment, does the appointment actually take place, or do they cancel it or no-show? When you do get a face-to-face appointment, does it result in a contract being signed? And if not, what can we do to improve your presentation so a higher percentage of the appointments you go on actually result in a contract being signed, a buyer or a listing contract? And then when you've got all of these clients signed to buyer contracts and listing contracts, do they actually result in a closed transaction? And if not, what can we do to improve the odds of someone who signed a buyer contract with you actually making a successful purchase? And if you think about it, that is the system. That is everything that we need to talk about, because the idea is if we know what part of that sort of system isn't working, then we can fix just that. But if we don't know, in other words, if the idea is, I don't know, all I know is I'm not selling any houses. Well, it could be any number of things. Maybe you aren't generating leads. Maybe you aren't talking to them. Maybe you aren't booking appointments. Maybe you aren't, we don't know what that is. So we've got to drill down deep. We got to look at every single one of these steps so that we leave alone what is working and we only fix the part that is actually broken. And I think that was the big moment of clarity. Everybody can improve in all of those areas, but there is an area where when you examine your business, it will become glaringly obvious. That's my problem. My problem is I only speak to 15% of the leads that I generate. And we had somebody that referenced that at the boot camp on Friday. They realized they talk to about 15% of their leads. So the solution to them isn't getting better at the universal script. The solution to them isn't generating more leads. The solution to them is, let's talk about all the ways that you can turn that 15% into a 70%. If you were talking to 70% of your, everything changes.
You know what's really cool about this is for the people that really get the system, this reconfirms everything that they're doing, and they're able to fine-tune it. But I'm also really excited about people that are struggling, and all of a sudden they come to the boot camp, and they're listening to what we're saying and talking to other members who are successfully doing the thing they're struggling with. And it's sometimes just one little thing they need to change, and everything changes for them. And that's really exciting to be able to take somebody that's kind of struggling with this, or maybe a bit skeptical, and boom, they finally get it. They hear something that they may have heard before, but they didn't hear it that way, or whatever, but it just clicks. Okay, look, here's another note. This is from John Lowe. You're going to like this one, James, because it's all about like you and how you do a great job. So here it is. Craig, but they send it to me about you and
Don't
Lester.
miss anything now.
Yeah, so I'll read this one very slow because we don't do this often. Craig, my name is John Lowe. I'm a coaching member from Clearwater Beach, Florida. My coach is Jonathan Lay. I'm sending this email to let you know how much I enjoyed the coaching boot camp yesterday in Fort Lauderdale. It was awesome. The drive for me was 4 hours each way, despite the fact that I didn't get home until past 10 p.m. last night. I was still wide awake, absorbing everything from the day. Having Lester there was great. He shared a wealth of information and kept the group laughing with his sense of humor. Lester was also very generous with tips and tricks that he has picked up over his career. Several of them were very big takeaways for me. As always, I was amazed by James. I'm continually impressed with his ability to cover fundamentals over and over while keeping it fresh and never seeming burned out. Every time I see James in person or hear him on a coaching call, I relearn something very important which I've forgotten. I hope he knows how much the coaching members appreciate his patience and feed off his ability to keep his energy and enthusiasm up. There have been several occasions during my time in the coaching program where I was dragging, and James has given me a boost. He's a very valuable component to the Total Craig Proctor coaching program. Thanks very much for a great boot camp in Fort Lauderdale. I'm looking forward to Orlando next. So there you have it, James. You couldn't have written that better if you wrote it yourself.
Sounds like a raise to me.
Okay, now, why are we doing this? Why did I call James McDonald before we got started today and say, hey, James, you guys did a really good job on the boot camp. Why should we begin the call talking about that? Because we want all of you in California to be at the next one. Okay, I think we don't make a big enough deal about these boot camps because not all of you attend. So I wanted to make a big deal about this.
One other thing that I wish was mentioned in there, and that was that there is absolutely nothing for sale at the boot camp. There's not a single vendor in the room ever. There is no selling anything of any kind in any way. No selling. So I want to make sure that everybody knows that this is not for any alternative reason other than here's what we find. When you attend the boot camp and you go back, you do a much, much better job. And if you're more successful, that means we're more successful. That's it. That's the beginning and end of the whole thing. We are a more successful coaching company if you are a more successful student. And the boot camps make you a more successful student. So we will do them forever and ever, as long as that's true.
All right, well said. Let's go to the questions. The first question I have is from Sonny, and he is asking, tell us a little bit more about the guaranteed price and list price using your own way of achieving these prices with the sellers during the listing presentation. Well, let's see if Sonny has a live mic here, Andrea, and we'll hook him up.
Okay, hold on one moment. Sunny, I've opened your line. Go ahead and say hi.
No go. Okay, well, let me just answer the question. Okay, tell us a little bit more about the guarantee price and the list price. Well, the list price, okay, first of all, let's start off with market value. If I was guaranteeing the sale of James McDonald's home, it would only because he's moving up and buying one of my listings. So if James called me off of an ad call or a sign call or the guaranteed sale program, and I go over to his house, the first question I would ask is, well, James, which one of my listings are you interested up in moving up and buying? And if James said, well, I'm not going to buy another home in the area, or I'm not moving up to buy one of your listings, I can flip the guaranteed sale program around to still benefit James. I would say, James, well, look, to qualify for the guaranteed sale program, as far as me buying your home, you would have to move up and buy one of my listings. So if you see one of my listings that you're interested in, we can talk about that at that time. However, the guaranteed sale program still benefits you even though you're not moving up and buying one of my listings.
This is the key language right here. This is the part that's very important that everybody understands, because I think this is the part that is vague that our members don't understand.
Well, yeah, because sometimes our members will say, well, then the seller says, oh, so you can't help me then, as if somehow you no longer have a real estate license. Not true. So if they're not moving up and buying one of your listings, I would say this. Well, James, this will still help you get your home sold. Should you decide to list your home with me, I'm so motivated to get your home sold, I'm actually willing to buy somebody else's house to make that happen. This is the for sale sign and sign writer that would be installed on your home should you decide to list with me. Clearly, you can say it says move up to this home and Craig will buy your home for cash. Okay, so you've got a beautiful $1 million home here, James. Unlikely it's going to be purchased by a first-time buyer, so we pretty much know that every buyer for your home has that problem. They have a house that they must sell. Okay, so you're going to get a firm offer versus an offer conditional on the sale of another house, which, James, I probably wouldn't even recommend that you accept in this marketplace. If James was moving up and buying one of my listings, James says, hey, I'm interested in your home on Maple Street. How does the price work? Well, let's start with market value. Okay, I am going to look at James's home and I'm going to decide, well, what is market value? Let's say market value, I decide, is $200,000. That's what the house would sell for on the wide open market. But I'm not going to guarantee 100% of market value. I'm going to guarantee 95%. Why? Well, James, I can't just guarantee to buy everyone's home at full market value. If I did that, everyone in town would just call Craig, like, why even try to sell your home? This is like an insurance policy. Okay, I'm ensuring that you won't get stuck owning two homes. So I can't offer you 100% of market value, but I will offer you 95% of market value. So I believe your home is worth $200,000. I will guarantee 95% of that, which is $190,000. But James, I'm not going to pay myself a commission. I'm going to give you a net guarantee. So I take my commission off that. You're going to get a net offer of $180,000. However, I am going to place your home on the market for 120 days. Should we get a higher offer from an outside buyer, an offer that's superior to my guarantee, of course, you've got full right to accept the higher offer. I don't want to buy your house, but after 120 days on the market, if the house didn't sell, you're probably pretty happy that you have $180,000 guaranteed in your pocket from me. But if at any point between now and then you want me not to buy your home, I'm happy to do this. This gives you now, James, the benefit to move up to any one of my listings and make a firm cash offer. Now, what could James say? He could say, well, Craig, I don't agree with your assessment of market value. I think my house is worth $220,000. Well, James, I can't give you the guarantee based on a market value of $220,000. I could list your home and we can make an offer conditional on the sale of your home. In other words, do it the typical way, list your home and overprice it. Or we could give you the guarantee based on a market value of $200,000. Now here's what you'll find. Most of the sellers want the guarantee more than you want to give it, so you've got a bit of leverage. If they won't bend and take the guarantee at your price, don't you bend. That's how you get into trouble. Okay, let them go find another real estate agent to guarantee their home for more than it's worth. And every once in a while, James, the seller would say that. They'd say, Craig, we interviewed another real estate agent. He said your guaranteed sale program was a big scam and you were just going to rip us off and buy our home for less money. I would slide over the guaranteed sale paperwork across the table. I'd say, well, my guarantee is on a market value of $200,000, and I'm going to give you after commission $180,000 in your pocket. Why don't you take that to the other realtor? We'll scratch off $200,000 and put in $220,000, change all the numbers, and see if they'll sign the guarantee. Let's see if they'll buy your home at $220,000. Of course, they never do. So that's how you explain the guaranteed sale program.
You know, there's something else that's even of deeper importance here when you think about it. Is that the purpose of this face-to-face presentation that you're giving, in this case to the seller, is to demonstrate that you're not the same as all of the other realtors, and they are forming an impression of you based on the words that are coming out of your mouth and all of the different things that you offer. So the guaranteed sale program is one of a series of unique offerings, services, statistics, performance guarantees that you offer that the other realtors don't. So even if the prospect declines your guarantee, even if they decline your guarantee, what happens still is that you've offered them something that clearly no other realtor in the marketplace is willing to offer. Even if they decline that, it still has set you apart and formed an impression of you that the other agents were unsuccessful in creating, which is one of confidence, one of competence, one that you're willing to put your money where your mouth is, one of professionalism. It's not just if they don't use the guarantee, it was a complete and total waste of time. Not true. The guaranteed sale program, along with a series of the other USPs, what it does is it sets you apart from your competitors. Regardless of whether they end up taking you up on it or not, it has done its job of differentiating you so that they want to work with the best. And that's what your presentation is designed to do.
Okay, Rob is asking, Craig, I set my first listing appointment over the weekend using the universal callback script. Where can I go to view the listing presentation? Okay, right on the coaching site. Andrea will take you there right now, Rob, and show you where you can download my listing presentation and the buyer presentation. Now, Verlin's typed in here, yes, James is awesome. And then Greg said, that's a very true statement about James. So I don't know, now guys, he's going to want to raise or something, so I shouldn't have probably done that.
No, that was a very, very large mistake.
That was a very bad idea. Yeah. Okay, we have more questions. No, Chuck, because we want you to show up. Video recording, it's not the same. We want you guys to show up at all these. A couple people saying they can't hear anything. What's the deal with that, Andrea?
I can hear fine.
Yes, I think that's just on their end, more than likely an audio issue on their computer or device.
Okay. All right, Brandon is asking this. For a newer coaching member, I started in April, looking for now business with first-time buyers, would the USP I guarantee to save you at least 1% on your home purchase, or I'll deduct $1,000 from my commission, be effective? Brandon, better than 1%, I would just pick a number. So I don't know what the average price is that you work in, but I guarantee to save you $5,000 or $10,000. Sounds way more impressive to me than 1%. Okay, let's go back to some other questions here.
This is something else we talked about, Craig, is that there's a difference between having performance guarantees in your presentation and advertising performance guarantees. In other words, how many different performance guarantees could you have in your briefcase that you could offer to a seller when you're face-to-face doesn't necessarily mean that you're running ads promoting all of the different guarantees. You don't have to do that. You can, on a case-by-case basis, determine what performance guarantee would be most effective with that particular prospect.
Here's a question from Sue Dolan. I'm getting a lot of calls from out-of-state buyers who won't be in town in my area for a while, so I can meet them. Do you suggest I set an appointment to meet with them a month in advance, or I think that says do a go-to meeting and do the VIP buyer presentation? Okay, so Sue's asking, obviously if they're coming into your area in the next couple of weeks, even in the next month, you probably want to set the appointment at your office, Sue, like you normally would, and just do the buyer presentation. If it's longer than that, absolutely, you could do a webinar with them and just show them all the PowerPoint slides in the VIP buyer presentation. They're going to go one way or the other, right? They're either going to commit to you or they're not. And remember, using the basic buyer presentation that we give you as a new coaching member, you're not at that point asking for a transaction fee, an upfront transaction fee. You're not doing that. You're not trying to negotiate your fee and make the buyer responsible for any shortfall between your fee and what's being offered at MLS. You're not doing that, not yet. All you're saying is, I'm going to do all this stuff for free, and all I ask in return is for your loyalty. Does that sound fair? So that conversation could easily happen on a webinar or even on the phone. And they're either going to say yes or no? Well, at least you know. If the answer is no, I mean, is that an unreasonable request, James? Hey, James, I'm going to get you pre-qualified for financing. I'm going to email you all the properties that match your criteria, including difficult to find properties like bank foreclosures, vacant homes, homes that have recently been reduced, homes that have come off the market, pre-MLS listings, and you get me and my specialized knowledge. Okay, I'm going to answer all your questions. When you see a home, I'm going to show you the homes. When you see a home you want to purchase, I am going to craft that offer for you on your behalf, negotiate all the clauses to protect you, and help you negotiate the best price on the best possible home for you. And none of my services cost you a penny. All I ask in return, James, is for your loyalty. Does that sound fair? What are they going to say to that? No, that's ridiculous. That's unfair. I mean, okay, well, if you think that way, I'm sure glad we had this conversation, right? Because now I know not to waste any more time with you. That's why we want you folks to have lots of buyers, because some buyers will say no, just like some sellers say no to you, right? Not every seller you meet with lists their home with you, but that doesn't mean you stop trying to get listings. But what would happen if you had enough buyers coming in that you were brave enough to ask for this commitment right from the onset? Well, you'd only be spending your time with buyers that you're going to be compensated on. And since we've already talked about this, that none of you would do this kind of work with the seller without a listing agreement in place, I don't know why this is such a hard thing for us to deal with, since the seller side of your business looks much different. You do have rules of engagement in place when it comes to sellers. I'm just saying apply the same set of rules to buyers. All right, let's see what else we have for questions. Andrea, do we have any audio questions at this point?
We do have a few hands raised. Would you like to go to those now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Steve Williams, your line will not open. Either you're on an iPad or a device that doesn't have a mic on it. And he just went offline. So we'll go to Sue. Sue Dolan, raise your hand. Go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, Sue.
Hi. The other question that I had is I'm getting advertising because I'm only in a market that I want homes priced at $350,000 or more. And that's how I'm advertising, but the vast majority of the calls are coming in for much lower priced homes. And so what do I do with those? I mean, do I go meet with them and then pass them off to another agent, or do I just ignore them?
Okay, so I'm sorry, these buyers are calling in and you don't want to work with them because of why?
My market, the market that I target, is homes priced between $350,000 and $1 million. So I don't really want homes below that, and I don't really want homes above that.
So do your ads specify that?
Yeah, it says I've been advertising $350,000 and up, but most of the calls are coming in way below $350,000.
Okay. Does your website and your hotline reflect that as well?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. So that means they don't follow instructions. Okay. Now you could refer those out to another realtor, maybe preferably a Quantum Leap member in your area if you have no interest in them. Or if you get enough of those leads, maybe you want to have an arrangement with an agent, whether they work on your team or a loose arrangement with another agent in your office who would be interested in working with those buyers.
Okay, but they're not trained on your system. So do I go ahead and do the VIP buyer meeting with them, get them signed up, and then trade them off?
You could, but I would want a much higher referral fee if you're doing that kind of work. If you're really not interested in those buyers, I would just refer them like any other referral, right? If I had a buyer for Carlsbad, California, I would say, who do I know in Carlsbad? Oh, I know this James McDonald guy. Hey, James, I have a buyer. They've sold their house here in Toronto. They want to move to Carlsbad, and they need to purchase something in the next couple of weeks. Would you accept this referral and pay me a 30% referral fee? Right? I don't think you want to be if you're going to go the distance of calling them back and meeting with them, then you need to get much more than 50%. I would either decide to work with them or just refer them out.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good questions. Let's see who's next.
Okay, hold on just one second. We have Ellen Levy. Your line is now open.
Hi there. Good morning.
Good morning. What's the weather like in the Washington, D.C. area this morning?
Absolutely gorgeous for a change. We've had 14 days of rain, and the sun is now shining.
I did that for you, Ellen.
Oh, good. Thank you.
I arranged that for you. So what's on your mind today? How's Barry?
He is good, and he's listening also, but I'm the one with the mic.
Okay, well.
Okay, so we have a listing that's in process of being prepared for the market. It's actually being renovated right now. It's in it's an age-restricted community, 55 plus.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gated and secure community. The house is going to be wonderful. I have no question. It's going to sell in a matter of days, which is why I want to get advertising in place right now, because I would like to attract buyers who have houses to sell, empty nesters or children trying to get their parents moved into a secure community where they can spend the rest of their days quite happily. And this community does not allow signage at all.
Yep.
It has a community website where they announce all kinds of activities. The Facebook page has only 640 likes. The population of the community is over 8,000. There is a very good newspaper that is distributed free to 6,300 households. That newspaper is only carrying 3 real estate classifieds and several personal promotion ads from realtors. There's a good turnover rate in the housing there. I'm trying to figure out how, given the challenges, I maximize my possibilities of getting multiple transactions off my listings. And
Well,
I'm trying to figure this one out.
Very simple.
Facebook ad isn't going to work, I don't think.
Okay. All right. Well, we don't know that until we try it, but let's think about this. First of all, it sounds like you believe that this listing, this particular listing you have, is a high demand listing and it'll sell quickly, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you're smart because you're saying, most agents, their focus is, I got a listing and I want to sell the listing, and they're thinking in terms of one transaction, I'm going to sell that listing. But you're smart. You're thinking, hey, you know what? I could make a lot of business off this one listing. This one listing could be a gateway to many, many transactions, right?
That's the plan.
Okay, now, if you consider this, what prevents you from running this type of ad all the time, whether you have that listing or not?
I hadn't thought of that one.
Well, think about it. Because you know what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you how to do this, and then the listing's going to sell. But if this is a real high demand area, like for example, we'll step out of your market, and I'll give you an example in my market, because sometimes it's easier when we step out of your market to see what I'm talking about. So let's say that I list a really nice home in Stonehaven Estates here in Newmarket. I know that that house will sell for over 100% of the asking price. I know I will probably have 5 to 10 offers on that property, and it's all going to happen in about 48 hours. In fact, I would be hesitant to even broker load that listing until I've sent that information out to my entire database, because why would I want to split the commission when I don't need to, because I've got my own buyers? But that wouldn't prevent me from running a free list of Glenway Estate homes every single day.
Mm-hmm.
You could do that every single day. So what's this area called? What makes this such a high demand area?
It's called Leisure World. It's a community that I think they have others elsewhere. This one happens to be in Montgomery County, Maryland. It has a golf course. It has swimming pools. It has fitness centers. It has a very active community with many special interest clubs. There's shopping right nearby. It's a gated community with 24-hour security.
What's the name of it?
Leisure World.
Okay, now is that a well-known area, Leisure World? Do people know
Yes.
it by, okay. All right, so Leisure World, retirement community, you can list off all those amenities, free list of all properties in Leisure World available. Visit Leisure World home list or propertylist.com. You could run that all the time.
There's a real question as to how internety these people are.
Okay,
Again, the community Facebook page where the community people post all these activities and what's going on with the renovation of over here and
no,
over
I get
there.
I get it.
It has very few likes on it.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Some listings have sold in Leisure World, right?
Yes.
Have you ever sold any of those listings?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Do you know other realtors that have sold the listings in there?
Yes.
Could you call the other realtors that have sold their listings? And so James is the other realtor. Hey, James, Craig Proctor here. Look, I see you've sold a couple listings in Leisure World over the last 6 months, and I was just wondering, where did those buyers come from? They'll tell you, right? Or if they didn't, they might, right? They might tell you. Okay, what if you found out that most of the buyers, you might even have to speak to the agent, the buyer agent that worked with them. What if you found out that most of these buyers came from a certain area in Maryland? Okay, so now we know the geographical target market. Okay, now we can experiment with the media. So when we're working with members in Florida, for example, okay, I'm working with a member, let's say in Sarasota, Florida. Okay, and they do a bit of research, and they realize that many of the transactions are coming from people that live in Southern Ontario. They live in Canada. Okay, now we know the who, right? So now we just have to discover how are we going to reach these people in Canada. So we can test Facebook, okay, specify Canada. We can test some of the Canadian newspapers. We can television, radio. So the who is important, the target market, and then we're going to experiment with the how to reach them. That's your media. But if this is a high demand area, my point here is you don't have to wait until you get a great listing. You could be doing it all the time, and you could do it with 6 or 7 other real high demand areas, and that's exactly what I did. Because I know you're a great agent, and I know you're going to figure out how to get multiple transactions from this. You might get 3 or 4, but when that property sells, you're done, right? It's over. However, and this is a lesson for everyone here, I want you guys to think about what are the highest demand neighborhoods, areas in my marketplace, and let's create marketing that's evergreen. Like you folks understand, right? I had the same ads. It's pretty boring, but the same ads, same marketing ran over and over and over and over again. Very boring, right? But it enabled me to sell 50 or 60 homes every single month like clockwork. I've shown you folks the postcard. Let's go to the postcard for a second, Andrea. Do you remember I'm working on this postcard generator? So I'm sitting down with my office and I'm talking about all the postcards we have. And then I thought, you know what? Why don't I just give you the best one? Why don't I get everyone here just to do the best one first? Let's not fuzzy, blur things here. Let's just give you the best one and get you to do that one, because this postcard you see on your screen, I send out 20,000 every other week. So if you created this little ad, you pick these 3 or 4 high demand areas, Ellen, you can just run them over and over and over and over again. And it doesn't rely on whether you have one or you don't have one. Now you can spend your time, okay, I know what's in demand, and I think you guys do. I think if I flew to your marketplace and we sat down at lunch, I think every one of you could tell me the highest demand areas. Okay, so now we know the product. Okay, now we have to identify our target market. Where are those buyers coming from? And then the third component is how are we going to reach them? So you said, well, I don't know if Facebook will work. Well, we haven't tried Facebook. Sometimes I'm surprised. How many of you folks in this program have been surprised by something that James and I have told you that you really believed, well, that's not going to work, but you tried it, you went, holy cow, that does work. So it's not up to us to predetermine what's going to work for the marketplace. We always want to be open-minded and test things out. However, we can do a little bit of research. So here's what I did, Ellen, on this note, just to finish this up. I realized that this Stonehaven Estates area, do you know that most of the buyers for Stonehaven Estates were coming from Glenway Estates? And then I did a bit of research, and I realized that most of the people that buy in Glenway Estates came from an area called London Road. So do you know what I did? I targeted Glenway Estates through direct mail and through the newspaper, okay, through print and through online, ads that targeted people in Glenway Estates, offering a list of Stonehaven Estate properties, because I know that's what they want to move up to. And then I did the same thing in London Road area. I targeted the people in London Road, and I offered them a list of homes in Glenway Estates. Now, here's the thing. I didn't have listings in either Glenway Estates or Stonehaven Estates. But it didn't stop me from doing it all day long. So, hopefully that helps.
Thank you.
All right, say hi to Barry. Go get them and enjoy a bit of that weather out there today.
We will. Thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's see who's next.
We have Mike Boychuk. Your line is open.
Hey, Craig.
Mike Boychuk, good morning.
How's
Hey,
it going?
Mike.
Hey, guys. I got a question for you. I've got a new service that I'm going to try out, and their pitch is that they pre-screen the leads, and their model is they sell you a postal code area.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just trying to determine what postal code area should I select. They like, I'm in Canada, so we're selecting the first three.
Okay, so tell me more about how this service works. Let me guess. They're going to give you an exclusive area, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, and you better hurry, because if you don't get this exclusive area, one of your competitors is going to get it, and you need to pay up front, and then what are they going to do for you?
So what they do, and yeah, you're getting to part B of my question, should I even bother with it? What they do is, you're the neighborhood expert, ring-a-ding-ding, and their suggestion is the leads you get, they have pre-screened as people who would like contact with an agent.
Yeah, how do they do that?
I guess they phone them.
Okay. Do you know anyone else that's using this service?
No, it's brand new.
What kind of commitment do they want?
$250 for 3 months.
It's not terribly expensive. They won't explain to you the wizard behind the Oz behind the curtain, like how this all works.
Yeah, they do. Like they're going to advertise in a kabillion places, and their suggestion is it generates buyer and seller leads. So
for $250, have they give you any idea as to how many leads you could expect?
No, they say it's called needaproperty.ca.
Mm-hmm.
They suggest that they're doing it in the UK, and they're the third most visited site, or whatever their lingo is. They're about to launch it in Canada, and they're looking for people to try it for 3 months.
Okay, so what they're saying is they're experimenting on you.
Basically, yeah.
Okay, so here's what we know. It's going to cost $250 to find out the answer whether this is going to work for you, correct?
Correct.
Okay, if you didn't do this, what could you take the $250 and invest it on that you know works?
More Facebook marketing.
Okay, well, that's what you're going to have to decide. You know that you have other things that you can invest the $250 on, and you know pretty much what your return would be for that $250.
Yep.
Or you could go with these guys who say, we did this in England. we're new here. We don't give you any guarantees. It's $250 and you take your chances. Now, I'm not saying, like, I'm big into testing, right? So you don't know until you do the test. The problem with this, even if it does work, you've got to keep paying them for the leads, right?
Not for the leads, no.
Oh, for the postal code. What are you paying for then?
Yeah, for the postal code, exclusivity on that postal code.
Okay. So whether you get 1 lead or 100 leads, you're paying a flat $250.
Yep.
I'm pretty skeptical
Me
that
too.
they're going to do much for you for it's $250 for a month.
Yeah.
So $60 a week. How much are they really going to be promoting, or how much? I don't like it.
Well, that was my skeptical. It's too cheap.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, you look at it two ways. One way you look at it, go, for $250, what are they really doing for me? The other way you could look at it is, well, it's only $250. You can throw money at it, but
you're going to go into it with very, very minimal expectations. So anything that exceeds your expectations will be delightful.
Right, and we already run low water or low percentage waters kind of campaigns where we've got to call oodles and oodles of leads to get to the good ones. This is totally different. Their suggestion is the only leads that come our way are ones they've already spoke to. Mm-hmm. So in that respect, it's low maintenance for us.
Right, I would try it.
Well, look, there's all kinds of marketing companies that are after you guys, right? One after another, after another, after another. So you guys need to decide how to handle that. What I'm all about is I want to teach you guys how to fish, right? I want to teach you guys how to generate your own leads. So to me, if I can figure out how to generate my own leads, I'm not dependent on this company sending me leads. It's going to be up to you. It's a $250 test. If you try it and it doesn't work, I promise you it won't be the last thing you waste money on in this business. If it works, well, you got leads. What were the quality of leads? You'll have to assess that.
So I think it's down to coin toss territory for me to try it or not. If I were to go ahead, what postal code, like how should I select a postal code? Like my target prospect is someone who's moving up to a home and has a larger.
Well, you use the reality program and you enter your postal code, and I'll tell you how many homes sold.
But do you pick the area where you want the buyer, or do you pick the area where you want the seller?
Well, I'm going to pick the area that has the highest turnover because there's going to be more buyers than sellers. What do we know about an area that has no turnover? There's no sellers, but there's also no buyers. Or there might be sellers, there's no buyers. There's no transactions. A lot of it you know the answers to, right? You know the highest demand areas. Right now you can probably tell me. What market are you in?
Saskatoon.
Okay. So what are the highest turnover neighborhoods there?
Well, it depends on the type of housing. We've got a lot of new construction, so there's half a dozen new neighborhoods.
Okay, well, I'll tell you right there, if you've got a lot of new construction, as you probably know, there's always huge turnover in new construction areas. Can I tell you why there's huge turnover? Because some buyers purchase them on speculation. You're buying many times a new home. You're buying it off the plan. Right? You're picking all the colors, you're buying everything off the plan, so it's not like a resale where you actually get to go look at the house and see what you're buying. You're buying off a plan, and so the buyer moves in and they go, well, I don't really like this. It looked better on paper, I really don't like this house. A lot of new developments, by the way, are being purchased by younger families, okay? Young marriages, very high divorce rate. They move in, they realize they don't like each other, the house comes up for sale. How about this? When you buy new construction, you don't know who your neighbor is. Like with resale, at least you can, peer across the backyard and, okay, they keep their house nice. They don't look like they're bikers. but you don't know who your neighbor is because there are no neighbors with new construction. So in my experience, new developments are always great target markets.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
You done or you got more?
No, I got more.
Sure.
I want to start. I've never ever farmed, and I want to start with a postcard campaign or do some farming. Same deal. Like, would I, based on what you just said, I'm thinking maybe the new areas are the best target markets.
See what's on the screen? Do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Just do that.
Good.
Okay. All you have to do is click on a customized postcard, drop your information in, and now it's a perfect replica of mine. You can even call BXL printers. They'll print it up and send it to you. All right, so mine says for new market area homeowners, what target market do you want to go after? What's the name of the neighborhood?
Willow Grove.
Willow Grove?
Yeah, one word.
One word, okay. Andrea, one word. Willow Grove. All right, the ID number for this script, just make one up. Okay, and we've got Mike's name. What company are you with, Mike?
Royal LePage Hallmark.
Okay, so comma sales rep, Royal LePage Hallmark.
Yep.
Okay, we're ready to go. Postcard's done. It's Ellie.
And how many? What do you suggest you do as a minimum number of?
Don't do less than 5,000. It's not a good test.
Okay.
Now, if the area doesn't have 5,000 homes, like I sent this all out to Newmarket, I could break it down to Glenway Estates and Stonehaven Estates, but there's not 5,000 homes in any of these neighborhoods. So you could just keep it simple and say free service for Saskatoon area homeowners.
Right. And then just spread it out over the neighborhoods you want to
spread it out all over the neighborhood. Okay, if I can get you guys just to do the stuff that I promise you works for me, if we can get you guys just to copy this stuff. So that's what I was saying a few minutes ago. I was tempted to put a whole bunch of postcards on there. But now I confuse the issue, right? Because now you guys are looking, well, I don't know, what postcard should I run? Well, why don't we just do the best one? Let's just put the best one up there and get you guys to start using that. If you can't get the best one to work, there's no sense looking at any other postcards. You'll notice we drive to the hotline on one side and the online home evaluation page on the other side.
Is the hotline that we should be directing this to the information line or the property?
Yep, information line. The script is already recorded. If you go over to, actually we need to get Adrian to add that. I forgot about that. But go over to classified ads, please, Andrea. And we're going to go to the ad generator. We're going to go to classified ads. All this is, by the way, folks, it's the area homes sellers classified ad. Okay, so think about this. I'm running this ad in the newspaper, and it works really, really well. I just decided one day, not that one, I decided one day, well, why don't I just take this message that works so well in print in the newspaper, and why don't I make a postcard? So there it is. That's the classified ad I started with. You can see the script is an ID 1041. Okay, and let's, 1041. So that's, we go back to your postcard, you type in 1041, and everything is pre-recorded. So that means that the seller prospects in Saskatoon will hear exactly the same thing as the buyers or the sellers in Newmarket did. Your marketing is a perfect replica of mine, except for the very, very bottom, instead of saying consumer info supplied by Craig Proctor, it says your name. All right, we better take our next caller here. I hope that helps you out. Let me know how you make out with the postcards.
Our next Our next guest, Allison Happel. Your line is now open.
Hello. Hi, Greg. Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Allison. What's on your mind?
I have a question. When we send a report out, should put a company name like a signature and or
Small,
just
very small. Unless you're doing
small.
unless you're doing branded advertising, we don't. With our less branded advertising, we're going to generate more leads. Let's be clear on this. There's more people that don't want to talk to an agent than people that do. So the only reason we have our disclaimer on these ads is because legally we have to. So we want it as small as possible. Well, what size does it need to be? Well, your name can't be bigger or more dominant than your company name, so make them both small.
Yeah, for the advertisement, we know we put very small, but how about the people request us to send a report? So for this case, should let them know, well, realtor or
Well, yeah. Once you generate the lead, you're not trying to hide that this information was coming from you. Once you generate the lead, once the prospect raises their hand, everything from that point forward should be branded with you and a picture of you and your unique selling propositions.
Okay, thank
you.
you.
Now you have the lead.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you. I'll take a couple of chat questions here and we'll go back to some audio. Okay, so Francie Martinez is asking a good question. She heard me talking to our member about this $250 test, the company from England that's never done it here, and they promised to get you leads. And Francie says, well, isn't this the same for bold leads, like you're paying them for leads? Well, it's a little bit different because we have lots of members using bold leads successfully. So if you were at a boot camp and you heard a lot of our members saying, hey, I'm getting really good leads from this company called ZBuyer or Bold Leads or SmartZip, well, you'd have a lot more confidence investing than that versus our member here. It says, hey, you know what? There's a company here, I've never heard of them, and they've had no success in Canada at all. They're from England, and they want to do like this test, and I'm the guinea pig. I think we can see the difference, right? Let's go to our next audio question, please.
Okay, we have Daniel Pilson. Your mic is now open.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can.
Great. This is hopefully not too tricky. I used your example for the guaranteed sale program that you were discussing earlier, and I said, what would you do if you sold the $200,000 property for $185,000? Your guarantee is $180,000, so you did find a buyer, and your commission is 6%, which would be for $185,000 about $11,100. So the net to the buyer would be $185,000 minus $11,100, or $173,900. Now this is a little bit less than the $180,000 on your guarantee.
Okay, I'm not sure where you're going with this. You want me to check my math?
Okay,
is that
well,
what you're saying?
hang on. No, here's the clause that you have in your guarantee. You reserve the right to make up the difference. So Craig, what's happening here is the difference between what they're going to net out in their pocket in the guarantee and what they're going to net out taking the offer. There's a shortfall of a few $100 or $1,000. You as the agent reserve the right to make up that difference so that they accept the offer.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the clauses in the contract.
You'd rather give up $1,000 of your commission than for them to decline the offer and then you buying the property.
Right. Correct. So in this case, correct. Thank you, James. The numbers actually would work out where it would be more than 1,000. In this example, it would work out to approximately 6,000.
Okay, so here's why we have a clause, which I'll show you here. Andrea, can you go to the guaranteed sale manual, please? Guaranteed sale manual. And there's a clause that I learned to insert after I ended up buying my second and final home. I think you guys remember the story. The first home I never looked at. It was in downtown Toronto where I never ever sold a house before, and I took the word of my buyer agent for market value. Well, that was pretty dumb and burn till you learn, so I didn't do that again. So here's a good rule. You always want to look at the house. Another rule is you probably only want to guarantee homes in a market where you know what's going on. You've actually sold real estate. But the second home I bought, if you remember that story, there was about 2 weeks left until I had to buy the property, and an offer came in that was going to net the seller $1,000 more than the asking price, and the seller said, we've been getting really good traffic for the sake of $1,000. We've got a couple weeks left. I think I'll take my chances. So you'll see that we have rules in the guaranteed sale program. If you want to scroll through those rules, that's an explanation of how it works. And then we're going to go to the rules, and there's the actual contract. Let's have a look at the contract. Okay, we've got built-in price reductions. Oops, sorry, go back.
Okay, let me know.
That's one nice thing about the guaranteed sale program. Right there, clause 7. Seller agrees to list the property at the following prices for the following specific periods of time. So that's one nice thing. Don't you wish all your listings had built-in mandatory price reductions? You're not chasing the seller around trying to convince them that they need to reduce their price. It's built in. It's baked into the cake. Now, I don't know if you guys can read the clause below. It says the agreement shall become null and void prior to closing. The seller shall enter into another agreement for the sale of property by accepting an offer to purchase submitted to the seller for acceptance. Here's what's important. During the first 60 days of acceptance of this agreement, the seller reserves the right to decline any offer from a third party to purchase their property. However, and here's the biggie, after the 60th day from acceptance, the seller must accept any offer that's equal to or better than the purchase price contained in this agreement. So in your example, if a buyer comes along and we're down to the short strokes here and I'm going to end up buying this house in another week or two, if a buyer comes along and they offer $3,000 less than what the seller is going to net out, I can accept that. I could deduct $3,000 from my commission, make the seller whole, as long as they net out what they're supposed to net out. I'm able to do that in the last 60 days. So think about this. You're making already, if they're moving up and buying one of your listings, if you're double ending one of your listings at $400,000 or $500,000 or $600,000, $800,000, I don't know what your average price is, let's just say $500,000, and you're getting a 6% commission, you're making $30,000 on the buy-in. If worse come to worse and you had to kick in $2,000 or $3,000 to make the seller whole, well, you're still up $27,000 on this. It's not a bad deal.
Right.
This is why I say understanding the guaranteed sale program is really just understanding math. And eventually all of you get it, and that's why you'll see members start to offer the guaranteed sale program 3 months, 6 months, a year or two into coaching, because as soon as they understand it and they talk to enough people and they have enough clarity on the program, they understand, well, this is kind of a no-brainer. And this is not a radical idea. When you buy a car, you buy a new car. Explain that process. What happens? You trade your car in, right? You drive it into the dealership, and you know the dealer's not going to give you as much as if you went to Auto Trader and sold the car yourself, right? We all know that. There's going to be a bit of a cushion. Why? Because the dealership has to certify the car. They got to turn it around. They got to make a profit on it. But it's a service that most of us take advantage of. Well, it's the same thing here. We have a trade-in program. We're allowing prospects to move up and buy any one of our listings, and we'll take their house in trade. As long as you follow the rules and you know what you're doing, you're not going to get in trouble. Now, if you don't know what you're doing, well, I don't suggest you do the guaranteed sale program. And if you're not willing to follow these rules, I don't suggest you do this. So many of you will start with this. You'll start realizing how powerful this is. It is the ultimate offer for move-up buyers. There is no better offer than this. It's the one thing they want more than anything else. And here's what you'll find as well. You'll be amazed at how quickly they throw their current agent under the bus. Remember, one of the rules is they got to move up and buy this listing directly through you. Many times they'll say, well, I'm working with my Uncle Joe, my best friend. my cousin. When you offer something that Uncle Joe, their best friend, their cousin doesn't offer, you'll be amazed at how quickly they throw their agent under the bus. So it is a way to ethically steal all the other agents' buyers. You're stealing all the buyers. Now, if they've already signed a buyer agency agreement, then you can't interfere with that. However, I have had buyers say, well, I want this program. I'm going to cancel my buyer agency agreement so I can sign one with you and take advantage of this. You're not even playing at the same level as other agents. Here's what the other agents are saying. Well, list with me and I'll go find a buyer for your home. I'll work hard and I'll try to find a buyer, and I've got lots of integrity and I work hard and I'm an honest person. They're all saying that. You come along and you say, I'm all that too, plus I'll give you a written guarantee if I haven't sold your home in 120 days. I'll buy it for the pre-agreed price, and if we get an offer higher than my guarantee to you, you get the benefit of the highest offer, whether it's my guarantee offer to you or an offer from an outside buyer. What's the other agent going to say? Here's all they can say. Well, they're just going to, Craig Proctor is just going to guarantee a lower amount. Okay, here, you sign the guarantee then. Well, they won't sign it. So it kind of takes all the wind out of that argument. We will cover in more detail some of these programs that you folks perceive are super risky. But understand this, I made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars from the guaranteed sale program. I only ended up buying 2 homes very early in my career when I didn't have this figured out. But you know this, if you go to any marketplace in Canada, the United States, go to any city and look at what the top agents are doing, and they're using this guaranteed sale program that they got from me. So that's what will happen here is you folks are, as you proceed through the program, you'll hang out with me and you'll talk to enough people because here's what you'll do. You're going to be interested in talking to people that are making millions of dollars, and you'll find out, yeah, they're all doing this. And then you're going to have a list of all the reasons why you're not going to do it, and when you get enough information, you'll experiment with it. But I get it. All the feelings that you guys have, it's normal. It's not something that you're going to do right away, but you should be open-minded to it. Let's go back to Andreas, who's next.
Our next question comes from Dave Silva.
Hi, Dave.
Go ahead and unmute on your end. Hit the red mic button.
Okay, while we're waiting for Dave, Francie has a question. In a low inventory situation, is there a need to use this tool? Well, how about we flip it around, Francie? Let's flip it around and say this. In a low inventory situation, is this not the truth? That in your market, Francie, buyers have to make a very quick knee-jerk response, right? When a home comes on the market, like in Toronto, there's 12 offers on it in the first 24 hours. So when the buyer is forced to make a very quick snap decision like that, they're kind of stressed out, right? Because they didn't get to take their time. So what if you flip the guaranteed sale program around, just like Rick Brash did in Calgary when they had a real hot market, and you're going to offer your home purchase guarantee. Okay, buy any home using Francie's services, and we'll guarantee you'll be happy with it. In fact, in 18 months, if you're not happy with the home that we sold you, we'll either buy it back or we'll sell it for free. What are the conditions? Same conditions. They have to move up and buy one of your listings. You're not saying you're buying it back at current market value. You're going to, or what they paid for it. You're going to assess it, and you're going to base the guarantee on market value. You're going to take off your 5%. You're going to have 120 days to sell it. So whether it's a buyer's market or a seller's market, we just flip around the guaranteed sale program to suit the marketplace. And I think we've got some ads on the coaching site. In fact, let's go to the USP ad generator and show everybody how they could run this exact program. We're going to go to the ad generator, under USPs for buyers, and let's show Francie and everybody else how all they have to do is really just fill in the blanks. So it's the bottom one, PB2. Buy any one of our listings, and if you're not satisfied in 18 months, I'll buy it back. Now, if that sounds too strong for you, if you flip it back, Andrew, we can just do for free. So we go back there again, and the one above it, PB3, if we click on that, how about this one? You don't want to buy it back? Here's a good one that you could offer. Buy any one of our listings. If you're not satisfied in 18 months, I'll sell it for free. If you're in a real hot market, I've got another one. Let's go back to the ad generator again. I'm in Toronto. I'm in a super hot market. Well, what's a promise that would be important? A powerful promise, but also easy for me to keep. If we click on sellers and we click on USPs, and let's go to 100% of your asking price, PS7. Right here, Francie, is another one that you could use, no problem, right? If you're in a hot market, your home sold for 100% of the asking price, where I pay you the difference. So lots of ideas. It doesn't matter whether it's a strong seller's market or a strong buyer's market or whatever between. We've got campaigns that you can use. Let's go back to our audio questions. We'll see who's next.
Oh, right before we do that, I'm sorry, I was talking to myself. My mic is muted. Right before we do that, I'd like to make a couple of announcements about what's going on this week. We have some really awesome webinars. I know we're almost at the 90-minute mark and we're losing some of our members. We have a French helpline today. I know that a lot of our newer members haven't heard about this one, but we still hold it bi-weekly. Our French session with Coach Francois McKay. If anybody on the webinar speaks French, or they have French marketing they would like to have critiqued, Francois can do that for you today at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. We also have on Wednesday our session 3 for our newest group, Mastering Direct Response Lead Generation. That's one of my favorite webinars ever. And then using statistics, ongoing customer communications, which is really great. So please check the coaching member website for your individual group coaching sessions with Craig this week so you can get on the sessions you need to get on.
Perfect. All right, we probably should wrap it up. James McDonald, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody again for attending the boot camp on Friday. And remember, the California one's coming up June 24th in Huntington Beach. We'll look forward to seeing you there. I know most of you, or a lot of you, have registered, confirmed your attendance. Some of you haven't, so make sure you do. Upload your ads for the ad clinic session this coming Friday, and we'll also look forward to you coming on and doing some volunteering on the role play session on Thursday.
Boom. Okay. Well, look, I hope you guys enjoyed our helpline today. Lots of great questions here. Sorry we didn't get to all of them. It sounds like we've got a great week full of webinars and training for you. Remember to spend some time on the coaching resource site. And yes, Huntington Beach is the next boot camp. Hopefully you can all be there, those of you for the West Coast. Orlando, of course, end of June, Orlando, Florida. We've got a platinum boot camp that we want you folks to be at. So look, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank James and Andrea for doing a great job as always. Take care, and we'll talk to everybody soon. That concludes our helpline.